Good evening, I am Fayyaz Qureishi with the Legends edition on KBC Channel 1. In tonight's edition of The Living Legends, we speak to an absolute legend, Professor Terry Ryan, a man who has been at the heart of Kenya's economic planning. And our sign language interpreter for tonight's edition is Lensa Odingo. Now, before we go on with the main top story for tonight's bulletin, I'd like to introduce you to my colleague, Topi Lembila, who will be on the sports desk for tonight's bulletin.
Yeah, thank you very much. This is Topi Lembila, and of course with the Bamba Harvest once again this Saturday evening on the sports edition. So just stay tuned for the Legends edition this Saturday. Plenty. Bulletin. That forging a united front, Prime Cabinet Secretary Musalia Mudavadi and Azimio Deputy Presidential Candidate call for unity in fulfilling the nation's aspirations.
Mtoto alishuhudia kuona mama yake akiuawa, ndio akaita wajirani kutoka wakaenda kwa huyo mzee. Kabla hakwenda kwa huyo mzee wakamuona amejinyoga.
Man kills wife, injures daughter, then commits suicide following domestic row in Kimende. The anti-graft body calls for a probe on MPs who irregularly earned rent from their properties. Men are urged not to suffer in silence and embrace breast cancer screening. Welcome back. Starting off with our top story tonight, a somber mood has engulfed a Matathia village in Kimende, Lari constituency in Kiambu County, after a 56-year-old man hacked his wife to death, injured their daughter and later took his life. Witnesses say the issue could have been caused by a domestic quarrel between the man and his wife.
A dark cloud lingers in Matathia village in Kiambu County, following the unfortunate incident that has led to the death of a man and his second wife. Residents still in shock over an incident that saw 56-year-old Benson Wanjohi brutally kill his wife. It is said Benson Wanjohi visited his second wife, whom they had separated.
Kulikuwa kitu kama saa 3. Huyo mtoto hakupiga duru, kwa maana agepiga duru huyo mzee agerudi na mkatakate.
But moments later, after taking supper, a confrontation occurred and Wanjohi descended on her.
Wakati alimaliza kula chakula wakakuwa na ugomvi wa nyumbani, na ndipo mzee alichukua panga na akakatakata huyo bibi yake. Na kulikuwa na msichana wake pia hapo msichana wa miaka 15 ambaye alijaribu kutetea mamake, lakini ikakuwa ngumu. Pia yeye akakatwa kwa kichwa na kwa mkono ya upande ya kulia.
Alifunika mama yake, akafuga nyumba, akaenda kwa jirani, ndio akamwambia mama yangu ameuawa.
Her 14-year-old daughter was not spared either, suffering serious injuries.
Ni mzazi kwangu mimi. Huyu ni mzee akona miaka zaidi ya 50. Kwa hivyo huyu ni kama baba yangu sasa. Nikiona akifanya vitendo kama hizi, inaniumiza roho hadi mimi naona maybe sijui shida ni gani. Lakini kama ni ndoa, ni kitu kinanifanya mimi mwenyewe nahisi ugumu wa kuanzisha ndoa nikiwa kijana mdogo.
Wanjohi would later commit suicide 1.5 kilometers away from his victim's house.
Tungeshauri wananchi, kama mtu akiwa na matatizo ya nyumbani ajaribu kutafuta ushauri mahali nyingine badala ya kufanya kitendo kama hiyo.
Investigations have been launched to establish the real cause of the incident. The bodies of the two have been moved to Tigoni Hospital mortuary, while their daughter is being treated at Tigoni Hospital. Ruth Wamboy for Legends Edition.
More than 200,000 people are facing starvation in Baringo County due to prolonged drought. Baringo Governor Benjamin Cheboy says the situation has affected persons and livestock, with many animals dying due to lack of pasture and water. Elsewhere, more than 150,000 starving households in drought-hit Kajiado County have received relief food supplies from the local authorities' Provident Fund, LAP Fund. Timothy Kipnusu reports.
Dire is the drought situation in some parts of Baringo County. Horrible scenes of carcasses is what welcomes you here. A testimony of the toll of drought on livestock. More than 200,000 people face starvation in Baringo County due to prolonged drought. Tiati, Baringo South, Mogotio and Baringo North constituencies are the most affected, with rivers drying up as a result of lack of rains for months.
You will find that when cows die in Tiati area during the drought, there is a lot of water in the lake and there is a lot of fish in the lake. Is fish not a contributor to good food security?
In Kajiado, it rose relief for 150,000 households that received donation of 850 bales of maize flour from the local authorities' Provident Fund, LAP Fund, to cushion them from the ravaging drought. Drought has also decimated livestock in some parts of the country, with desperate pastoralists selling the remaining animals at a throwaway price.
Na kwa hivyo nachukua hii nafasi kuwashukuru sana familia ya LAP Fund na kuwaeleza kwamba bado shida inaendelea. In fact, tunapoendelea kusonga ndio hata inaongezeka zaidi hadi mvua ikuje.
Meanwhile, the government has begun distribution of relief food in the 8 sub-counties of Narok County in a bid to mitigate effects of drought in the area. Narok Governor Patrick Ntutu and County Commissioner Isaac Masinde flagged off 3,200 bags of rice and 1,280 bags of beans to needy areas. They, however, cautioned residents not to sell the food given.
Hii wiki ambayo inakuja tunaenda kupeana bursaries ili kuhakikisha ya kwamba watoto wetu hawatatoka kwa shule kwa sababu wazazi wao wameshindwa kuuza ng'ombe ama kondoo kulipa school fees.
Na nipeane onyo kwamba ule ambaye atapatikana amedivert food, hii relief food ambaye ni ya watu maskini, watu ambao wamekuwa affected na drought, huyo tutamfuta kazi mara moja.
Similar sentiments were echoed in Nyandarua, where a section of leaders urged residents receiving relief food to ensure the donation meet its intended purpose. Speaking in Kalau town during the flagging of a consignment of relief food to Kalau, Ndaragwa and Oljoro constituencies, the leaders lauded the national government for the relief food support. More than 14,000 households are now in dire need of relief food.
Nyandarua inajulikana kama food basket, lakini kwa wakati huu mvua imekosa, especially kule Ndaragwa, kule Oljoro, sehemu zingine, hata hapa Karau, Kaibaga.
Hii chakula tunapeana hapa, hatupei kila mtu, tunapeana zile sehemu ambazo ziko na kiangazi.
And a section of spiritual leaders from Kenya and Tanzania held a peace and hunger walk to seek divine intervention to bring rains that will help alleviate food shortage occasioned by the ongoing drought.
We said no for drought. We are going to pray for the drought. Also, we are praying for the rain. God is going to hear us and is going to bring rain to all over this nation.
Tumekuwa na changamoto ya ukosefu wa mvua muda mrefu. Mahali kwingine kama kule Ngarizeni tunasikia miaka 5 hawajapata mvua.
This even as the Deputy President Rigathi Gachagwa's wife, Pastor Dorcas Gachagua, called on Kenyans to unite and help those affected by drought. Speaking after launching food distribution in Kandozweni, Makueni County, Ms. Gachagua said no Kenyan should die out of hunger.
This crisis is here with us, and every helping hand make a difference.
And I want to brag that I was the only one who had a report about the drought mitigation in the whole country.
Timothy Kipnusu for Legends Edition.
The Prime Cabinet Secretary Musalia Mudavadi has called for cohesion and reconciliation among leaders following the bitter standoff that was witnessed during the 2022 electioneering period. His sentiments were echoed by Azimio la Umoja Deputy Presidential Candidate Martha Karua, who called for mutual respect and unity. In diversity, they were speaking during a Golden Jubilee celebration ceremony for retired Reverend Philip Sulumeti held at Bukhungu Stadium in Kakamega County.
Not unity in a single party. And therefore, Governor Baraza, yes, cooperate, because you need the national government. The national government also needs you to reach the people of Kakamega. Cooperate from a position of strength, knowing hawa wananchi ndio wamekuchagua, ndio wamechagua kila mtu Kenya. Kwa hivyo tufanye kazi pamoja tukiheshimiana.
We have a common destiny to serve the people of Kenya. We have a common destiny to revive the economy of this country, and we can only do it if we work together. So on behalf of the government, I want to assure you that that is going to be our objective.
ODM leader Raila Odinga is warning against attempts to alienate his political strongholds from government development. Speaking in Kisumu County, the opposition chief said all Kenyans must be treated the same regardless of their political association. He wants the government to deliver its promises to all Kenyans regardless of their political affiliations. Achola Simon with the details.
The opposition chief was in Kisumu County to mourn a member of the Luo Council of Elders. Raila challenging the government to ensure every Kenyan feels accommodated in the government's development agenda, regardless of their political stand. He wants the government to ensure the country is united and every Kenyan catered for, regardless of their political association.
Kenya itaendelea mbele ikiwa kama tutaunganisha makabila yote ya Kenya wawe kama kitu kimoja. Siasa ya kugawanya ni utawale, ni siasa ya ukoloni ya wazungu mpaka tuzike kwenye zaburi la kusahau. Mimi na hakika tutaweza kufanya haya.
Na mimi nasimama hapa mbele yenu leo kusema kwamba ile safari ambayo mzee Zisha tutahakikisha kwamba imetumika. We will start with Raila Amolo Odinga until he is the president of this republic. For that is the time freedom will come.
He warned his support base against being lured into working politically with the government. His devolution has ensured every part of the country is catered for.
Musa sija kumwambia wewe ya kwamba wewe unataka maendeleo ingie kwa serikali. Hapa serikali gani? Wewe serikali gani? Serikali ni nyinyi, ama sivyo? Ama sivyo? Hapa Kisumu mnalipa ushuru kila usiku. Ukinunua chumvi mtoa ushuru. Sukari mtoa ushuru. Mafuta taa mtoa ushuru. Sigara ushuru kubwa. One for the road, kubwa sana. Hiyo ni pesa wananokota kwenu kila siku, upende usipende. Kwa hivyo siambiwe ya kwamba kama hujaungana na serikali ya Kenya kwisha, ati wewe utapata maendeleo. Hapana. Development is a right for the people of Kenya.
Somewhere I see a section of the leadership not sure about what to do. Mgumoja hapa, mgumoja kule. We want you to know that we are watching. We want you to know that all of us as leaders must file behind Raila Amolo Odinga.
Achola Simon, Legends Edition, Kisumu County.
The Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission now says a section of members of parliament have been defrauding taxpayers by availing fraudulent documents showing a lease of their county or constituency offices. EACC says it has established that some of the offices occupied by members of parliament either belong to them, their families or close associates. The anti-graft body now wants the Parliamentary Service Commission to do due diligence on all rent claims made by MPs on their offices with the aim of taking action and recovering the money.
Though the report by the EACC may not have touched on the 13th Parliament, seeing that they are in their second month, the details of the report paint a grim picture of the extent to which honourable members collude to defraud the taxpayers. With the 12th Parliament having been cited before for fraudulent claim of mileage and sitting allowances, the new report indicts the Parliamentary Service Commission for failure to do due diligence on all rent claims made by MPs on their constituency or county offices. This followed complaints by the members of the public that a section of MPs used their own or family premises as their offices and later sought rent reimbursement from PSC. EACC being mandated with the role of enforcing compliance with Chapter 6 on leadership and integrity, after investigating the claims, found that the PSC failed to do due diligence on the claims, relies on documents such as lease agreements deposited by the MPs for rent reimbursement without checking to establish ownership of the premises, that MPs employ their family members, relatives or business associates to fill vacant positions in their offices, and finally, that some county or constituency offices are on premises owned by the legislators, family members or business associates. EACC says such acts breach Article 72 of the Constitution on conflict of interest and Article 232 on values and principles of public service. In a letter to the Senate Clerk, Jeremiah Nyegenye, who is also the Secretary to the Parliamentary Service Commission, and copied to National Assembly Speaker Moses Wetangula and his Senate counterpart Emerson Kingi, the EACC wants the MPs also cited for breaching the Regulation 5 of the Parliamentary Service Constituency Offices of 2005 on the renting of offices, as well as the Leadership and Integrity Act Section 13 on moral and ethical requirements, Section 16 on conflict of interest, and Section 24 on impartiality. EACC wants PSC to do due diligence on the constituency offices so far to ensure compliance with the law. John Jacob Curia, The Legends Edition.
Now we'll take a short break. Stay tuned for the Living Legends segment, where the absolute legend, Professor Terry Ryan, will join us. Thank you. Stay with us.
The World Health Organization, the WHO, has ranked cancer as a leading case of death in children.
Well, it's very common when you're treating one type of a cancer in a child to realize another form has arisen.
Sadly, the rate of survival for children diagnosed with cancer is quite low.
We're saving a life. We're bringing back these talents that are dying.
If you're getting the chemotherapy, you're predisposed to getting another type of cancer, for example, AML, ALL, that's a type of leukemias.
You give them hope with a lot of love.
We, the community, deserve to have these children living.
Welcome back. Men have been urged to embrace breast cancer screening as the disease, though largely seen to affect women, also affects men. Rafael Apunga, a breast cancer survivor, says men are more likely to suffer in silence, as most of them are embarrassed of being seen to be fighting a disease majorly associated with women.
Most people believe that breast cancer only attacks women.
Statistics, however, indicate while breast cancer affects 93% of women, 7% of men are also affected by breast cancer.
Out of the 99% of the breast cancers are occurring in women, but 1% is in men. So this month has been full of activities, and we are just winding up the month and still emphasizing about early detection and timely treatment.
We meet Raphael Apunga. Apunga is a cancer survivor. He was diagnosed with breast cancer in January 2021 after a long time of having a lump that kept growing. After thorough diagnosis, it was confirmed to be cancer.
I did normal testing from a long time. Over 4 or 5 years ago, I used to touch my breast, all right? And from afar, I could get some lump, right? And then as men would react, would say, wachana na hii.
He is now urging men to stop taking breast examination for granted and form the habit of conducting self-breast examination, and if they feel something odd in their breast tissue, seek medical attention.
Should you feel anything happening in your body, don't take it for granted, and you'll suddenly know that all is not well.
Regina is also another survivor. She has been on treatment since 2015, and in 2018 the cancer cells spread to the bones. Her journey has not been easy.
It was like a torture to me because at first I undergo surgery whereby the left breast was amputated. After that I was to undergo 25 sections of radiotherapy and 6 sections of chemotherapy. Na hiyo haikuwa kitu mzuri sana sababu ilimaliza nywele, ika change even my skin color.
According to Dr. Caroline Nyongesa, about 6,000 cases of cancer are reported annually at Kenyatta National Hospital, with a bigger percentage of the cases being presented by women and small percentage by men, many of whom, however, seek medical attention at an advanced stage.
We see over 42,000 new cancer cases every year. Out of this, over 6,000 are women, and majority of them are presenting in late stages, which we know that if we emphasize on early detection and screening, this will reverse the presentation, so that patients are coming in early stage, that is stage 1 and 2, where the chances of cure are higher.
Sensitization of cancer is seen as the only way to ensure Kenyans go for regular checkups and also seek medical attention early.
Breast cancer can be detected early before even it causes symptoms, so we are encouraging women to keep checking their breasts, and also when you are above 35 years you need to plan having your first mammogram, because early detection is the route to cure.
It is well known that breast cancer is common and attacks women, but today we have interacted with men who are part of it and are breast cancer victims. Hence, it's curable and very treatable if diagnosed at an early stage. Reporting for Channel 1, I am Joan Mwaneki.
The new Cabinet Secretary for Health, Susan Wafula Nakhumicha, has promised to ensure more Kenyans access affordable health care by conducting massive recruitment of Kenyans into the National Health Insurance Fund, NHIF. Delivering universal health care, UCH, is also a matter of priority for the new Cabinet Secretary for Health after taking oath of office at a ceremony presided over by President William Ruto at State House, Nairobi.
I'm excited about it, that I'm taking it up at a time when the country is recovering from COVID, such a big pandemic that was with us for a very long time. So it is a huge task ahead in terms of recovery and now getting everything back on track. But I'm truly humbled that the President saw it fit that I serve in this position.
Susan Wafula Nakhumicha, the new Cabinet Secretary for Health, is no stranger to matters leadership. A member of the Catholic Women Association at the St. Veronica's Catholic Church in Syokimau, Machakos County, serving people has always been her passion. In the 2022 general elections, Susan took a stab at politics and vied for women representative seat in Trans Nzoia County rather unsuccessfully. While her aim was to represent the women of Trans Nzoia County, her focus, she says, now shifts to serving all Kenyans in the all-important aspect of health.
So I'm going to be looking at the whole, set up the whole health of the family. And you know, family is the smallest unit of our community, so the families make the community, and eventually we have the whole nation, and that is what I'm going to look at.
She, however, acknowledges that women hold a special place in her heart, especially on matters gender-based violence and mental health.
For me, it's to focus on primary health care, integrate mental health care into it, and of course with a special attention to maternal health. You know, it's the women of this country who carry the burden in terms of maternal health. So as we focus on primary health care, we also focus on the women from the ground, from the grassroots.
Among the campaign promises of the Kenya Kwanza administration she's keen on delivering on is to ensure affordable healthcare by increasing the number of Kenyans registered under the National Health Insurance Fund, NHIF.
Whatever it takes for us to deliver UHC, that is going to be my focus. And as I said previously, we are going to deliver this through NHIF. So we are going to have very active recruitment to have Kenyans be registered on NHIF so they're able to then access healthcare services.
A staunch Catholic, C.S. Nakumecha acknowledges that her faith plays a pivotal role in her leadership and that integrity is key.
As I walk into this docket that is touching on each and everybody's life, I'm putting God first, and I'm putting prayers ahead of me that God shall go with me. And remember, matters of religion play a big role even in matters of integrity. You know, it's a whole. It changes somebody in the way they do everything else. That you're not just answering to humanity call, but you are working as though you work unto God, and that is what I intend to do.
Mariambo reporting for the Legends edition.
Friday saw a beehive of activities in most government ministries as new cabinet secretaries took over from their predecessors. My colleague Topi Liambila is on the other side of the studio to unpack profiles of the new cabinet secretaries. So Topi, what do you have from your end?
As you have been told by my colleague Fayyaz, early this week the President Dr. William Ruto unveiled his cabinet, and KBC Channel 1 is undertaking to profile these men and women who will do duty for the new government. Tonight, we profile 4 of the cabinet members: Aisha Juma, Moses Kuria, Eliud Owalo, Alice and Alice Wahome. Please, take a look. First on the line, of course, is Aisha Juma, born in Takaungu Village, Kilifi County, 1975, Certificate of County Governance, 1997 to 2007, a councillor of Takaungu Ward in Kilifi County. From 2013 to 2022, Aisha Juma was elected woman representative for Kilifi County. While in 2022, she lost in Kilifi gubernatorial election. And next is Moses Kuria, born in Gatundu, Kiambu County, who has a Bachelor of Commerce at University of Nairobi. He was auditor, Family Finance and Building Society, currently Family Bank in 1994. In 1995, head business process re-engineering, Al Rajhi Bank in Saudi Arabia. Moses Kuria was the Chief Operating Officer of Standard Chartered Bank in 2007. In 2013, he won the Gatundu South parliamentary seat in a by-election. And in 2008, he was appointed Assistant Minister for Livestock. While in 2017, he was again re-elected as Gatundu South MP. Next on line is Eliud Owalo. Born in 1967 in Nasembo, Rarieda District, Siaya. He attended Maseno School, studied at the Kenyatta University, Bachelor of Arts in Economics and Business Studies, while in 2012, Chief Manager Raila Odinga Presidential Campaign Secretariat Code. While was an advisor to Amani National Congress ANC party leader Musalia Mudavadi, in 2019 he vied unsuccessfully for the Kibra parliamentary seat in a by-election. Managing consultant with Eliud and Associates East Africa, E&A Management Consultants. Our next on line tonight is Alice Wahome, born in 1945, graduated with a Bachelor of Laws at the University of Nairobi, postgraduate diploma in law, Kenya School of Law, 1999 to 2001, Vice Chair, Federation of Women Lawyers, FIDA, Council Member, Law Society of Kenya, 2013 to 2022. She was elected MP for Kandara constituency. Stay tuned with KBC Channel 1 for more profiles.
Toby, thank you very much for the in-depth profile of the respective cabinet secretaries. Thank you. Thank you. Right, moving on, the African Union Transition Mission in Somalia has since April this year been in the front line of executing its mandate of helping in capacity building of the integrated Somali security forces. How is the day like for the close to 20,000 men and women who are members of the ATMIS force? Our reporter Yusuf Farah spent a day with them in Mogadishu and filed part 2 of ATMIS, The Final Push.
Our day begins at the mission headquarters in Mogadishu, Somalia.
When you are out there, for us, ours is to remain coordinating.
A quick brief before we head out for what ATMIS calls a visibility patrol. It's then time to board this P7 armored vehicle, ready and draped in bulletproof vests and helmets. We board. The streets of Mogadishu are relatively calm. These patrols are done on a regular basis to instill confidence in the public that the ATMIS forces are around and have their safety at heart, but at the same time send a warning signal to the Al-Shabaab. Al-Shabaab still remains a threat to the stability and sovereignty of Somalia, and it's the job of these men and women in uniform to keep that threat at bay. Recent trends by the terror group have been identified as follows: extensive use of improvised explosive devices, persistent use of person-vehicle-borne attacks, especially in Mogadishu and major towns, target assassinations, use of propaganda on various social media outlets, and voluntary or forced recruitments. There has, however, been a growing unrest and disapproval of the militia group among members of the public, and this is a situation that, in cooperation with the federal government of Somalia and the civilian component, ATMIS is prepared to take full advantage of.
You saw, for example, last operation, there are over 300 Al-Shabaab put out of action. It means the population is not now welcome Al-Shabaab, which is a positive. So the mentorship is part of preparing the Somalis to take over their security responsibility.
The support of the Somali Joint Forces unit has been a game changer, and the team here is positive that going forward the mission will realize much more success.
Issues to do with piracy has not been reported.
The forces have realized a number of achievements. Since formation, they have successfully secured delay elections that had triggered political tension, combat mentoring and training of Somali security forces, and increased IED findings thanks to the United Nations Mine Action Services training and capacity building and the successful joint ops in the regions of Lower Shabelle, Ali Fudere and Hiran. All the forces, however, faced few challenges that, if addressed, the mandate will be a huge success.
So to be able to reach the mobile forces in different areas, you need logistics that are flexible. And that is the aspiration of the new concept. Funding has been a problem to some extent. Reimbursement is not done at the right time. because there are no funds at the African Union.
As we head back to the headquarters, it's clear that the public trust from the residents of Mogadishu has been received well by the forces, and the general feeling is that the civilian component continues to volunteer vital security information. The question on whether the enemy will be defeated has shifted from if to when. Yusufar reporting for the Legends edition from Mogadishu, Somalia.
Kakamega mpo. Stesheni uipendayo Ingo FM inakuletea road show ya mwaka katika kaunti ya Kakamega, Ijumaa tarehe 4 na Jumamosi tarehe 5 Novemba. Tarehe 4 Ijumaa tunazuru Mumias, Matungu, Shianda, Navaholo, Malava, kambi ya Mwanza, Lurambi, na tarehe 5 Jumamosi tukutane pale Kakamega, Hayega, Malinya, Bukura, Kuisero, Mulwanda, Sabatia, Ekero na Mumias Town. Kutakuwa na vichekesho na burdan dosha. Pia utakutana na kikosi kizima cha watangazaji na waenzi wa Ingo FM. Usikose.
Radio Ingo, inginingini ya Mwitala. Kakamega na yefu bwana.
Tonight on History in Perspective, we look back at the historic OAU trade fair that was hosted in Nairobi, Kenya in 1972.
The Organization of African Unity, OAU, was established in 1963. Formed in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia, with 32 signatory governments, one of the key proponents of OAU's establishment was Kwame Nkrumah of Ghana. Some of the key aims of the organization were to encourage political and economic integration among member states and to eradicate colonialism and neo-colonialism from the African continent. However, the organization struggled to enforce its decisions, and its lack of an armed force made intervention exceedingly difficult. Civil wars in Nigeria and Angola continued unabated for years, and the OAU could do nothing to stop them. The policy of no interference in the affairs of member states also limited the effectiveness of the organization. Thus, when human rights were violated, as in Uganda and Idi Amin in the 1970s, the organization was powerless.
Ladies and gentlemen, I feel that this is an exciting moment for all of us and an inspiring example of Pan-Africanism. The idea and decision of this trade fair was first raised within the Organization of African Unity in 1967, and we were most gratified when 2 years later the Republic of Kenya was selected to be the host country.
From February 25th until March 5th, 1972, Kenya played host to member states of the Organization of African Unity, as well as approximately 150,000 visitors at the historic All Africa Trade Fair.
The whole impulse of this trade fair should be to seek to sweep aside all obstacles. Clearly, the discovery and discussions of these next few days must be followed up by more active and continuing market market research, government representatives, trade missions, and practical businessmen must advise member states through the OAU of any problem concerning currency exchange, control, or traffic regulations.
Numerous challenges, including the organization's unwillingness to become involved in the internal affairs of member nations, would prompt some critics to claim the OAU was a forum for rhetoric, not action. Recognizing this, the organization in September 1999 issued the declaration calling for a new body to take its place. On 9th July 2002, this happened with the creation of the African Union AU. The African Union continues to this day to uphold many of the founding principles of the OAU.
Next, Topi Lambila is all set with the latest in sports.
Welcome once again. As you know, of course, KBC Channel 1 will be airing live matches from the Qatar FIFA World Cup 2022. So keep the date. Now, locally, we've got more international stories here. National handball team finished third in the under-18 category in the International Handball Federation Trophy Africa Zone 5 Championships after beating Ethiopia in the playoff match at the Ulinzi Sports Complex here in Nairobi. Burundi emerged victorious after beating Rwanda 40-37. Let's take a look.
Burundi emerged victorious in the youths under-18 category after narrowly defeating Rwanda 40-37 in the final match played at the Ulinzi Sports Complex. Karakura Daniel was the top scorer for the winners, managing to find the net 15 times. Caesar Holy and Dairagije Benin scored 6 goals each. Ndaishimie Jean scored 9 goals for the losers, with Nyonkuru Karim and Besukungwe contributing 7 goals each, but finished at position 2. Kenyans were ranked third after beating Ethiopia 36-34 in the playoff game. National under-18 coach Jared Juma congratulated the team for finishing at top 3, despite this being their first national tournament they participated in. He encouraged the federation to conduct more tournaments to help the team get more exposure and also to improve on their game.
Nashukuru Allah ametujalia ushindi, tumeibuka kama namba 3. Tuko tumeaim kuwa namba 3, we are aiming to defend the trophy, but hapo ndio Mungu ametuwezesha.
Game imekuwa nzuri, tumemanage kuwa namba 3 kwa tournament, and we thank God for that. Vijana wameendelea, wamecheza vizuri. In fact, tunajua tulikuwa tumezoea outdoor. The first matches tumecheza outdoor, we won them all, tumeshinda zote. And then sasa ndio tukakuja hapa indoor, game ya semi-final ndio tukatiza kwa sababu hatujazoea indoor.
Our Sports Cabinet Secretary Ababu Namwamba says the government will fully support hockey in a bid to return the game to its former glory. Meanwhile, Western Jaguars enhanced their hopes of a top 3 finish this season after defeating a Eregi Teachers Training College team 2-0 at the Eregi grounds in Kakamega. The Mike Malungu's side has now moved to the 2nd position on the Premier League standings after collecting 3 points today.
Ababu Namwamba, who was speaking after spectating a Premier League game between Strathmore and Kisumu Lakers ladies, promised to give City Park Stadium a facelift.
We want to return hockey to where it belongs. And where it belongs means government giving full support to the federation and to the teams and to the players. It means improving the facilities. When you look at the facilities here, it's atrocious, really. So we need to have good facilities, have good changing rooms, so that you can play in a good atmosphere. And most significantly, we want to get the fans back to the game.
In the Women's Premier League, league leader Strathmore University Scorpions beat Kisumu-based Lakers at City Park 1-0. Scorpions have not recorded any defeat this season and are hoping to end the run as the champions. In men's Super League matches, it was a spoils-sharing day as Parkroad Tigers drew 1-1 with Multimedia University, while Nakuru Masters welcomed visitors Jomo Kenyatta University of Science and Technology met with a 2-1 win at a match played in Christed School, Nakuru. In the Women's Super League match, Multimedia University ladies suffered another loss in the hands of their fellow varsity side, University of Nairobi. University of Nairobi bagged 3 points after beating the team 4-0. Nora Mwangi for Legends Edition.
Now, Diamond Football Club, in partnership with Standard Chartered Bank, is planning to organize a series of football clinics and tournaments for over 600 boys and girls. The program will offer equal opportunities to both boys and girls, giving them a chance to express themselves and realize their true football potential. The first boys and girls tournament, involving the under-11 and under-13 categories, will be held in February next year, while the second boys and girls tournament for under-17 years categories will be held in September of 2023. Head of Affluent Banking, Paul Njoki, said they will leverage with partnership with the Liverpool Football Club to help young Kenyan players to set their eyes on playing in the big leagues. Meanwhile, Liverpool legend Vladimir Smicer joined the young players in a football clinic at Farasi Lane venue here in Nairobi. Now, Ali Sawiti emerged the winner of the inaugural Top 100 Brands Loved by Women in Kenya golf tournament held at the Windsor Country and Golf Club, Nairobi. The one-day championship attracted 150 players.
Handicap 44 Alice Awiti garnered a total of 47 points to win the inaugural edition of the championship organized by the Top 100 Brands Loved by Women in Kenya. Simushuru scooped the men's top award after finishing the game with 41 points, as Chris Kinuvia and Emi Rungu posted 40 points each to finish in second and third positions respectively. Handicap 23 Ruth Omwansa registered 41 points to win the Best Ladies Award, as Doris Knight and Irene Kimeu wound up in second and third positions respectively in the category. The tournament, organized by the Top 100 Brands Loved by Women, was geared to empowering and helping improve the level of the game among the women in the country.
To see real development in the world, then our best investment is women. As such, this forum sets the pace to foster and give much more emphasis on the need to appreciate and learn how women are, in essence, the engine of any country's economic and business growth.
The women agenda is a big agenda for the exchange. We are very passionate about getting the women at the top of the corporate ladder.
Now, Dennis Masika and Lenza Akoth emerged victorious in the third edition of the National Youth Service Track and Field Athletics Championships held in Turbo, Kakamega County. Brian Masika won the men's 100 meters title after beating his close rivals Elkana Sabila and Erica Ron to the second and third position respectively. Lenza Akoth won the women's title ahead of Lydia Maina, who finished second. Dorothy Osano was third. Masai won the men's 800 meters title, and he was followed home by Leonard Alal. National Youth Service Director General Matilda Sakwa said that she is committed to promoting sports in the service. Now, World Soccer Governing Body FIFA has warned Tunisia that they are at risk of being expelled from the World Cup finals next month if the country's government interferes in football matters. The warning comes after several comments from Tunisia's Youth and Sports Minister Kamel Deghouchi about the possibility of dissolving the Football Federation. FIFA considers the statements of Deghouchi as attempts to get involved in the running of the Tunisian Football Federation and has asked the federation for clarity about attempts to interfere in its internal affairs, along with a warning about dissolving its office. Tunisia is in Group D at the tournament and faces France, Denmark and Australia in Qatar.
20 minutes. Slitty drives it across. Oh, it's in! Tunisia have won it! With the very last touch of this semi-final. And it was a touch of Amro El Soler, the Egyptian...
Manchester United custodian David De Gea could miss this year's World Cup finals after being snubbed by Spanish coach Luis Enrique in England. In England, Chelsea right back Reece James is still hopeful of making it to Qatar World Cup despite having an injury. The 2022 FIFA World Cup finals will be televised live on KBC Channel 1 and on KBC's radio stations beginning on the